Injuries are part of a dancer's life.
I'm never going to dance again. And I remember we were on a Zoom call and you're like, well, if you feel that way, we're just going to dance. It's not, I want to dance, I need to dance.
It's all about being the dancer who dances. How can you stay curious about your recovery rather than become like really down or bitter about it?
And I think that's what's really special about injury mentorship, is kind of guiding you through those moments of realizing you can dance wherever you're at.
So how does this affect you in your environment, you with your friends, your reputation, your finances, your status in the company, if you're freelancing?
Hey guys, what's up? If you're new around here, my name is Hannah Martin, and today we are going to be talking about turning injury into opportunity. As you guys know, I've been through quite a difficult recovery process, and it's really easy to get down on yourself, down in despair. I've definitely been through all the emotions, and it's important to kind of go on that journey and validate those emotions. But something that's really helped me is having an injury mentor. This is Collier. She has been my injury mentor for both of my surgeries that I've had, and she has really helped me see the positive outcomes that can come from having an injury, because when you're in the middle of it, it really does feel like it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to you, especially when dance or sport is your life. So kind of reframing that situation to something that's a lot more positive, to something that you realize you're growing from, is something I'm super passionate about, and so is Frances. And I just wanted her to talk a bit today about the things that you can learn within injury mentorship and how you can grow, not just as a dancer, but as a person. So Frances, how do you grow as a dancer through an injury? What things can you change in your brain to go from this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, nothing could be worse, my life is over, to wow, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to grow as a person and as a dancer?
Probably one of the most important questions for a dancer's life, really. Injuries are part of a dancer's life. And I think when we get trained, I used to be a dancer as well, when we get trained, it's all about being the dancer who dances, and there is very little sort of like around how are you going to hold the space when you do get injured. I guess the first question is really, what is an injury? Is it like a really, really big, impactful injury, or is it just a little niggle? And each stage of each injury has to be treated in a different way. When I first met you, you walked in the room on crutches. And the first thing I saw, probably most people saw, oh my goodness, this is an injured dancer. And the first thing I saw was like, this soul needs help.
I just needed to dance so bad. That was my first injury when we first met, yeah.
And I think this is now, with the benefit of being a little bit older and having gone through the processes myself, all of this is based on experience that, comes, with years of dancing and going through the rabbit in headlights time, is really just to know that an injury to the body is mainly an injury to the soul. So the injury to the body, there is only so much you can do. It has got a very clear timeline. And you have to give it time, which is one of the hardest things in dance, to give time to recovering physically. The soul is there all the time, and the soul, you can carry it, you can hold it, you can cradle it. You can really learn to understand your soul, and with that, you're also helping your physical recovery.
Definitely, and in understanding yourself more, because I guess with an injury, all your kind of routines, everything is stripped back. Is that how you grow as a person and as a dancer? Because everything is taken away and you are left with kind of rediscovering yourself?
I think because we tend to start dancing quite young, so the focus tends to be on the physical side.
Yes.
So an injury really forces you to look at the other sides that are also part of dance. And this is where dance is an athletic entertainment, but it is also an artistic one.
Yeah.
So the time of injury really gives you a momentum to look after your artistic side, which quite often gets left behind. And I've even seen you, like you've worked so hard on your technique, like, you were pushing it and you're really there, and it's the most important to, get your triple pirouette or even like, quadruple, quintuple, and all your fouettes and your little jumps, and that's all like really, really important. However, growing as a dancer and growing maturity and life experience, that's what's going to come through as an artist. So when an audience goes and sees someone on stage, yes, of course they want to see the incredible technique, but they first and foremost want to see the artist shine through.
I feel like sometimes when you get so wrapped up in technique and in busyness of being a performer, you can sometimes lose that kind of first love, lose that kind of soul connection with what you do. Sometimes when you get so burnt out, you actually start disliking the very thing that you first fell in love with. So I think an injury is a time to make you not reconsider, but really like, wow, I really do love this. And I think certainly through the second injury, for sure, I'm like, wow, it's not I want to dance, I need to dance. And I guess that growth in yourself of when I go back, I have that certainty of like, when I feel like, oh man, I don't feel like doing this today, I know in my soul that I'm doing the right thing, even if today it's hard.
What I feel like what's happened with the process, because we've known each other for a little while now, is that the first time round, it was like such a new thing. You were just injured. You had no idea because you only knew your body like working really well.
It was almost exciting, like a challenge. It was quite exciting, whereas the second time round, no, not the same.
But that's actually a really big part of the mentoring is like, how can you stay curious about your recovery rather than become like really down or bitter about it? So like this curiosity, this is what's so amazing, and suddenly before you know it, you're back dancing the signets, which is just like incredible. But then the second time round, and that's the challenge now, is that it's this drawn out. You probably went in there with a little bit of an expectation.
Yes.
And so how do you manage that? And it's much more of a drawn out process, and that's now you're going on to a much deeper level of really getting to know your soul in all of this.
For sure. And touching there what you said about mentorship, how is that really key in this process? I mean, whether it's with an injury mentor or even with the physio, like mentorship is such a huge part because you don't know yourself, you don't know your body. It's really scary. It's really uncertain. How does mentorship help with that?
I think where it really comes in is that it works with you. It works with you as a bespoke individual. Quite often, because of the nature of how the injury healthcare system works, it has to be a little bit generic and a bit of not a factory, but it's like
it's X, Y, and Z sometimes.
It's X, Y, and Z sometimes also, because you have to work with a frame that you just have to get that body going. And there is not much time actually. It's just often a time issue that there isn't much time to look after the person in all of this. So how does this affect you in your environment, you with your friends, your reputation, your finances, your status in the company? If you're freelancing, you might have an audition that you might, for the next season, and you might miss the audition because of the injury. Like all of these anxieties and these fears. And these are very different for each dancer because each dancer's body is different, but also each dancer's approach to dance is different. So the mentoring comes in to really work with what's bespoke for you and really help you catch your neurology and your way of approaching things so that we can hold you in that space. So you don't feel so vulnerable and exposed.
I always remember in my first recovery, my ankle was doing just fine, and then my knee kind of went, and it was just the scariest time because I'm like, my body is just breaking down. I'm never going to dance again. And I remember we were on a Zoom call and you're like, well, if you feel that way, we're just going to dance. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't dance right now. I can't even walk down the street, let alone bust out any moves. And you're like, that's it. We're getting up and we're doing a bar. And I was like, I can't do a bar. She's like, we are going to do a bar with exactly within the limitations of what you have right now. And that was super scary. Obviously, we followed all the medical advice that I was given by my physios, but we actually just did it within those limitations. And I think that's what's really special about injury mentorship is kind of guiding you through those moments of realizing you can dance wherever you're at. You can dance if you've got your foot up and you've just had surgery, with your arms, with your eyes, with anything. And I think that is something that's made me continue to feel like an artist throughout this whole thing, because when you get injured, you feel like you have an identity crisis. You're like, I'm no longer a dancer anymore because I can't dance. Well, part of the injury mentorship is that I've been able to dance throughout every single stage of my injury, so I've never not been a dancer. Of course, it looks very different and there's still lots of emotions that come with that, but it does kind of relieve that, as you say, that like inner artist that's always trying to come out. When you're dancing, that pressure is a bit released, and I think that's a really exciting part of injury mentorship. And actually we've created a course called the Injury Mentoring Course, which is part of the Make It Happen Academy, which I've just launched. I'm so excited to have so many of you on board, and Francis actually joined together with me and created a course to help support you through injury, because walking through this myself, I hadn't seen anything like this before I met Francis. There was not this kind of support that was so individual for dancers' needs and dancers' emotions within this time of uncertainty. And I really wanted to provide a resource that other dancers could have when they're in that really, really difficult moment and it feels like you're so alone. This is something to make you feel supported and not alone in that. And so if you guys are interested in becoming a member of the Make It Happen Academy, which is also full of a supportive community, you get tons of courses, including this injury mentoring course, then please click the link down below. If you're also interested in talking to Frances herself, she has her own injury mentoring site. So I will also link that down below if you want to get in contact straight with her. There is so many resources on her site, so many ways that you can continue moving, even through an injury, even through a really difficult moment. But I really recommend checking out the Make It Happen Academy. All the links will be in the description.
And just to say, Hannah, what you've created is absolutely exceptional. And it just shows that actually this wouldn't have happened. If you had started your academy 3 years ago, it would have been a completely different academy. Yeah. And I think this is just literally a role model and an example, a living example of what the injury has actually brought to your life. And it will not feel like this right now. But when you look back, you go like, oh my goodness, like even having the mentoring on there, or, you know, nutrition, or the way you approach flexibility and strength, it's very different. There is a certain aspect that you wouldn't have known otherwise.
100%.
So actually what you're giving to all the beautiful audience and your clients is something that you can only give them because you've gone through it.
Yes, 100%.
And this is how everyone will benefit so much, to learn from someone who really knows what they're talking about.
And also taking what this whole video is and the course is about is turning injury into an opportunity. I mean, like this, the very fact we're filming this video is because I've had this mentorship and it's changed my perspective from this being a really awful event in my life that's holding me back from all my dreams to, wow, this is just another opportunity to step into something new, to develop more layers, develop more texture to myself as a person and as an artist, and be able to step into something that I would have never had the opportunity to step into before. And it doesn't diminish me as a dancer. It's actually hopefully going to help me and many, many others in the future. So really viewing your injury not as a setback, but as an opportunity for something brand new.
Also, I think it's so easy to become bitter about it.
Yeah, totally.
And also, particularly when you meet older dancers as well, like there's so many dancers who had to stop dancing because of an injury, and there is just an element of there's a grieving in it. But also just...
We do cover that in the course, actually.
And this is exactly the thing. We talk about the things that are actually really essential for a dancer. So the injury to the body, you know, you might still be hobbling with your knee a few years on, but it's the injury to the soul, really. And if you can catch this on the journey, so it never becomes an injury to the soul, but it actually becomes this turnaround thing. And even at the later stage, if you do feel a bit, you know, still sad about what's happened, we can still work at that.
Yeah.
We can, at any stage in your life where you're at, and whether you're a young student or whether you're a mature retired dancer, you never retire once a dancer or as a dancer, we can still go through that journey together. And this is what you've put together so beautifully. It covers the theme and the pattern and the methodology, and it doesn't matter when or where in your life, it's always applicable. Buy the course, it's amazing.
Come on, guys. But yeah, acceptance, what you were saying there about acceptance is such a huge part. We have a whole pillar on that, but I feel like once you've accepted what's happened, then you can actually then move forwards. But until you actually come to that acceptance phase, I lived so long in denial with this injury for sure. I was like, I had surgery and I was like, I'm not injured. I'm just not able to dance right now, but I'm not injured. And I think once I kind of accepted and worked through those emotions of like, okay, I'm not going to be dancing for a while. What can I do with my time constructively instead of just, you know, being really upset and in despair? That really helps you and moves you forward to doing something constructive and something that you're going to be proud of. When you look back and you are dancing again, you're going to be so proud of yourself for this time. For some people, maybe they do just need to take a break. They do just need to step back. And there has been moments in this recovery process where that's been the same for me. I just need to step back from everything and just take a breather. Being also proud of myself for that, because that's something I really struggle to do. So what you want to do in this time, once you've accepted it, once you've processed emotions, is kind of, you want to be able to look back on this time as like, man, I'm so proud of how I navigated that moment. And that is why injury mentoring can be such an important tool.
And I'm just so happy you say that, because I am so proud of you. And I think that's a big part of the mentoring as well, because it's actually having someone there where you can say, I'm at the brink of a breakdown, like I can't deal with this anymore. And then the next day you go like, I don't really know what's happened, but I'm feeling really good today. And just is like, it's so up and down. And to just be able to share this with someone, because you can't really share it with your company, or, you know, you have to have a certain...
There's very few people who understand. There's very few people on this planet who understand what it's like to be out as a sports person or as a dancer. And I think when we started talking, it was like, wow, someone who absolutely understands my language and absolutely understands these emotions that I'm going through. Everyone else I'm talking to is like, oh, it's okay, you're going to dance again at some point. It's like, no, this is my life.
And I think sometimes you just need to sit there and go like, no, you can't dance right now. What are you going to do with this? That's awful. That's like heartbreaking. That's taking your whole existence away. And again, that's where the soul part comes in, because yes, it might have taken your physical existence away just for now, but everything else, your heart and your soul, let's create with that. Let's stay creative and curious. And I think all the way throughout the process. And then also reintegration, because that's what happened a little bit last time. Suddenly you were fine and you were like, okay, I'm going to really push for it now, and I want to dance everything, and I'm going to do more hours in the studio than I did before. And I was like, okay, just and I think it's that as well. It's helping someone, the timeline, helping someone to calibrate and recalibrate every step of the way.
100%. So guys, if you are interested, links in the description, but we'll see you all very soon in the next video. Make sure to keep dreaming big and making it happen.